Hey everybody, Tom Barnes here. Stories from the 78 from Control Room A. Look at this. This is electrical studio here in the Avondale neighborhood. I'm going to talk to Adam because this is part of Open House Chicago. Then Taylor, who works here and kind of runs the whole ship here at Electrical Audio for this story from the 78. But I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, you think about the bands that have recorded here, and this is pretty rad. So that is the story from the 78 here in Avondale. All right, so you're looking west down Belmont Avenue here in the Avondale neighborhood. I'm here with my friend Adam to talk about all things Open House Chicago this weekend. How you doing, Adam?
Doing great. How you doing?
Oh, I'm great. You were an expert of this. That's why I'm talking to you. Give me your fancy title, if you would.
My role is Senior Director of Public Engagement at the Chicago Architecture Center.
And this weekend, starting Saturday morning at 10 o'clock through the weekend, Open House Chicago.
All weekend long, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And we're standing outside of a legendary recording studio here in Chicago that's open on Sunday only. But the whole thing's going on all weekend. Obviously, people would have to pick Sunday to come to this spot. Why don't you explain a little bit?
Exactly. So we're standing in front of Electrical Audio in the Avondale neighborhood, which is one of over 200 sites that we have in the Open House Festival this year. These are sites that are open for the public to come inside and explore that they normally wouldn't be able to get access to. And the best part is it's all free for the public. So anybody can come in. All sites are welcoming. This one here is going to be open on Sunday. And this is a really special place in the Chicago music scene in particular. What you're looking at on the outside here is a small-scale industrial building.
Yeah, it's very unassuming.
Very unassuming, a lot of Chicago glass block. You wouldn't really notice it going by. But for the past 30 years, this has been one of the really critical hubs in the Chicago recorded music scene, because this is where the legendary recording engineer and musician Steve Albini built his studio in the mid-1990s. And unless you're a musician who's going to be recording some music here, it's very unlikely you're going to be able to get to see the inside, except for the Sunday of Open House Chicago weekend this year.
Yeah, it's pretty special that this is even available, because I can't remember this being available in recent memory. I don't know if it has ever.
This is the first time we've ever been able to include this in the festival. As many people know, Steve Albini tragically passed away last year, a little over a year ago. And you know, we want to be able to honor that story, to give people a chance to learn about who he is if they're not as familiar, or for people who know him well to be able to check out one of the spaces that he really made a legendary space in Chicago. And so it's an honor for us to be able to include it in Open House.
Yeah, when you say legendary, that's no joke. Some of the biggest bands in the world have recorded here, some of the best Chicago bands have recorded here, and just some of the best bands that maybe you don't know, but it doesn't mean they're not great, have recorded here. He didn't mess around. He worked with amazing people and bands and talent.
That's right. And what's really special about Steve Albini is that, along with recording bands that everybody's heard of, PJ Harvey, the Pixies, the Breeders, Nirvana, he also was somebody who really supported smaller musicians and made it possible for them to get a chance to record in his space, made it affordable for them, gave advice. There's a reason why he's revered so much in Chicago, and it's not just because his name is attached to musicians everybody's heard of. It's really for a lot of these acts that many people have to discover on their own, that he gave a chance to.
And there's something very Chicago about where this sits. I mean, you're looking just on a very odd part of Belmont Avenue, because it's a part that people just kind of hop over the river and kind of pass by and don't realize that this recording studio is here. So I'm very excited. I'm meeting Taylor inside, who is what with the studio?
Taylor, who you're going to meet in a minute, is somebody who really runs all aspects of the studio, along with helping with sound engineering. He's also running the business here, and is a really friendly guy and really embodies the spirit of Electrical Audio.
Awesome. I can't wait to go inside and check it out. And here's the door. So when you come in on Sunday, this spot is open all day Sunday for Open House Chicago.
That's right. And I'll also say this is one of these sites that we know is going to be a really popular one. So I definitely encourage people who want to see it to come down and get a chance to see it. I'm also going to say there are 199 other great sites
yeah.
in this festival
right.
that tell all different stories about Chicago. So definitely take a look at the entire festival. You can download the Chicago Architecture Center app. which turns into the Open House Chicago app during the month of October. It lists all the sites, gives you itineraries, tells you all the neighborhoods, places to get coffee and get lunch. So look at the entire festival and get out there and explore. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it'll be a special weekend for sure. Adam, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
I'm
much.
heading inside. All right, so inside Electric Audio Studios, you got Silkworm right here at the front of the studio. And Taylor can tell me all about it. How you doing, Taylor?
Hey, good to see you.
So Taylor, what do you do here at the studio?
I'm the studio manager. I'm also an engineer. I do a lot of the archiving and tape transfers. Those are kind of my responsibilities here.
And how long have you been a part of the studio?
A little over 10 years now.
Wow.
Yep.
So we're going to go for a little tour, yeah? Is that all right? We're going to do a little tour?
Let's walk through.
As I was walking in, I thought it was very Chicago that you guys have bikes, like lined up. Not just one, there's a few of them lined up here, but this is kind of, this is the studio. It's very Chicago. The glass blocks on the outside, everything
Common
on the
brick.
inside.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have heard of this studio. Hey, we've never been in here. So we're gonna go on a little tour, but if you wouldn't mind pointing out even like the nerdy things, if you know, that you might think nobody cares about, I'm sure a lot of people do, including the kind of the bricks right behind you, right?
Yeah. So it's Adobe brick. It's not Chicago common brick or clay brick. It's made from fired mud. And this was brought in from somewhere in the Southwest. You can see there's like little pebbles and there's little bits of straw on the brick. So like 3 or 4 semis full of bricks were trucked in to make the internal walls for the studios. So each of the studios is kind of like a building inside of a building, and they each of these Adobe brick walls has a foundation that was cut. You know, there was a part of the basement floor was cut out because of the massive amount of mass that these brick walls present. They had to lay new foundations for each of these walls.
Oh, fantastic! And we're gonna get a look at control.
Yeah, let's peek into the control room.
Yeah. So what happens in the control room for folks who might not know, or specifically this control room?
Yeah, so the control room is kind of where the engineer on a session is spending most of their time after setup. So this is where you know, an engineer is kind of the person who is crafting the sound of a record, and you know, they're responsible for the recording. So we'll make sure that all of the independent signals for recording are getting recorded properly, and that they each sound good, and that they're, you know, going to a multi-track recording properly, and everything's in ship shape to deliver a really good commercial studio grade recording.
How many how many instruments can you have in a typical recording studio? Like, there's a lot of, these are channels, right? On the board, these are different channels for different instruments or microphones, right?
Yep. Yeah, and this board is huge.
It's massive, yeah. It's huge.
We're in Studio A, and the kind of design goal of Studio A was to be able to have, you know, the most of everything, to be able to have overhead for just massive ensembles, just lots of people, lots of moving parts, lots of complexity, and to be able to handle it all kind of in stride. So we've done, you know, we pretty regularly do large jazz bands that have, and large like gospel choirs that have 30 to 40 people. I did a marching band, Muka Patsa, Chicago institution. That's like a 30 to 35 piece punk marching band. So sessions like that, you know, you're near maxing everything out, but you still have a comfortable little bit of overhead that makes everything feel like you can still handle it all in stride.
And you have some older equipment in here. I don't want to, like, you got the tape machine back, and that's from analog recording from back in the day, and even now some bands still want to do it, right?
Yeah, tape and analog are a big part of our identity. Steve Albini was the former studio owner until he passed last May, and he was one of the last kind of torchbearers for an all analog process. So for the entirety of his, you know, 30 plus year career, he did all of his sessions to magnetic tape. And it's still a kind of unique thing that we offer to clients. A lot of our clients are excited about working on tape. It has a certain sound. It also kind of brings with it, you know, a kind of different process that's, you know, screen free, where you're focused a little bit more on listening. And there's kind of process limitations that can kind of be fun and push a record forward in a different way. So we still offer, sessions to our clients. If they want to do them on tape, we'll do that. But we also have digital rigs, and we can kind of traverse these fun spaces that are kind of, in between or use a little bit of each.
And this space in here is where the producer, engineer hang out. And who sits back here? And I noticed like the old school microphone right there. Is that comms to talk into the studio?
Yep, exactly. So when the band comes in to do a little a listen and check their performance and check that everything is sounding the way that they want to sound, they'll usually kind of spill out over the seating in the back here. There's rear deck speakers so that they have monitoring. They have speakers kind of close to them. But we can also put up these giant speakers that are built into the walls up there to just totally like pin people's ears back if we want to.
Well, that's half the fun, isn't it?
Just getting totally deafened by playback, part of the draw. But yeah, producers and engineers will hang out. They'll spend most of their time during a session in here, just kind of crafting the sound, just kind of making sure that everything is in order, playing with all the buttons and knobs and
there's even more buttons and knobs over here. Is this all like the compression?
Yeah, exactly. Nice. So again, we have a lot of analog gear. In addition to being able to record to tape, we have a lot of analog outboard gear. So a lot of these are compressors, preamps, kind of some fun spatial effects, reverbs and delays.
The really great stuff to make sound to give you guys your signature sound here at this studio specifically, right?
Yeah, to give a record a signature sound, and just be able to have some kind of play things, be able to sculpt sound in fun ways.
So control room here is where all that happens, and this is just a little fraction of this particular studio. Where are we going to go to next?
Yeah, we'll walk through the playing rooms. So the Studio A also kind of has a little bit of like lounge amenities, so it can kind of be its own self-sustained, kind of isolated world if clients want a little bit of privacy and discretion.
This thing's fantastic.
Oh yeah, the old Armoire.
Yeah. This very Chicago, this place. It just oozes Chicago in every step so far. So are we in like a little recording studio separately from the bigger ones right now?
So yeah, the playing rooms, there's 3 discrete playing rooms, and then there's the control room. And the 3 playing rooms, there's a little bit of a spectrum between very tight and dead sound, where all of the surfaces of the room, the walls, floor, and ceiling are all treated to prevent and absorb reflections. So the first room that we're walking through is cutely nicknamed Alcatraz. It's very, very dead. So if we were to close this door, you would hear very few reflections. It would sound very artificial because we're not used to being in spaces that are that dead of reflections. And then if we continue walking, there's this kind of medium-sized reflective room. Again, the Adobe brick. For all the walls and oak wood floors and a drywall ceiling. So everything in this room is designed to be reflective. So, you have this kind of, as an engineer or producer, you kind of have a little bit of a leeway in choosing like, I want there to be this kind of nice room around an instrument or around a section of the band. And you can put them in here, or I want it to be very dead and like piped straight into your brain. Then you put it in the dead room. Or if you want it to be very, very big sounding and very reflective, we have, the big center field room, we call it, this wide open.
That's where all the toys are.
Yeah, and a lot of toys stored in this room.
Yeah. This is a huge space. It really is. My goodness.
The website says that this room is like 1,200 square feet or so, which is bigger than some apartments I've lived in Chicago.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we want to do like an entire choral section or like a big string section or a big horn section, while we also have like a singer and we also have a rhythm section, we can kind of divide everything up into discrete little pieces and have some control over the elements.
I love how you have 2 pianos in here that I'm looking at, 2 big ones here, and then you got an electric. There's so many things in here. There's another piano this way. This room is like a treasure trove of a playroom for any musician who really wants to come and hang out. You got guitars over there on the wall. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of what we want to offer to clients is just the feeling that that first of all, that it's fun to be in the studio because you can play with stuff, and that's just exciting, but also just that there's almost this like bountiful, never-ending amount of gear so that you never have to be concerned that you're not going to have the thing that you need or want. There's always, a guitar that you can strap on. There's always, a piano. There's always another amp to try, a pedal that you can, strap in your guitar setup, etc.
And you mentioned the different bands that have popped through here, the instruments, but if you wouldn't mind, brag a little bit about some of the bands that have recorded in here. Maybe some Chicago bands first, because we're in Chicago and we should talk about Chicago bands. And Steve put a lot of those bands, or helped put them on the map with the albums that they recorded here. Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually kind of easier to try to pick the Chicago bands that haven't recorded here at this point. I mean, the studio's been here for almost 30 years. But recently we've had some bands that have come through that I really have loved and have been very happy that have come to work here. Beach Bunny. Oh yeah. Rat Boys just finished up a record that's coming out next year. Pelican and Russian Circles regularly do records here on the stuff on the heavier end. Meatwave, one of my favorite local bands, have done a bunch of stuff here. But yeah, I mean, if you look at like our website, it's just like, oh yeah, it's just band after band after band. It's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure. They've recorded here. And then, there's a couple like marquee acts, national, that have some national recognition. Foo Fighters, we were talking about the Foo Fighters song that was recorded here for Sonic Highways. Yeah. Yeah. The Stooges, the kind of, proto-punk band. No kidding. That's incredible. Kim Deal and the Breeders. Kim Deal is like a regular here. She's one of our favorite people to have around. We see her like every couple of months, it seems like. So, yeah. A lot of fun. I imagine working with all these different kinds of bands that come through here. But what makes this space so special? Was it the way it's designed, the culture that Steve cultivated here, the people that work here, or that it's in Chicago, or all of it? I think you put your finger on like three key pieces. I think it's the design of the studio. Like the studio was, we were talking about this was before this was built into a studio. This was a very raw industrial space that was literally transformed from the ground up to be a world-class recording studio. And every little detail of this place was put into service for that mission. Everything from the HVAC to the electrical systems to the acoustics that we've been talking about was all, everything works together, works in concert, no pun intended, to just create this environment that is, where you can make a professional recording, but also that feels comfortable. It's warm and cozy in here. Yeah, I think that's part of that is just the vibe, and part of it is our staff are pretty down. We try to be down to earth and try to be accommodating and try to help people be comfortable in space so they can get to work on their art. And the fact that it's unique and that it's analog forward, I think, is a really cool thing, especially in 2025. Yeah, especially in this digital age that we live in. Yeah, and the fact that it's in Chicago. There's Chicago is the recording centers of the U.S. are generally considered to be L.A., New York, and Nashville. But then here we are in Chicago, and right in the smack dab in the middle of the country with this the studio for the Midwest. Yeah, I mean, you can trace it back to Chess Records on Michigan Avenue and the Stones wanting to go there and record an album or a song after the address of it. I mean, so Chicago has had a place in history, overlooked, but definitely has a place. And this spot is one of the examples of that, and one of the examples of the incredible places that people can visit for Open House Chicago. That is this weekend, but only Sunday here. Yeah. You guys are busy. You guys got bands that want to record, and artists.
Yeah, we'll be here Sunday, opening the doors, doing revolving kind of tours from 10 to 5.
And before I forget, like the room that we're in right now that you mentioned earlier, this is where the drummer would be, the rhythm section.
Yeah, so I mean, session layout is pretty fluid. Again, it's like you, as a producer or an engineer, you kind of have a little bit of it's a conversation with the band or with the artist, like what kind of sound do you want for the drums, what kind of sound do you want for the vocal, what kind of sound do you want for the piano, whatever the ensemble is. You in Studio A especially, you have a little bit of leeway to kind of lay things out so that you can, you know, put a big room around things, put a small room around things, or have things be very dry. In most sessions that have like a traditional rhythm section with a drummer, a bass player, and a guitar player, keyboards, whatever, usually the drummer will go in that middle room. And then, so yeah, the Kentucky room.
That's what this room is?
This big room that we're coming out of is we call center field, and this middle room is called Kentucky. So usually the drummer will go in here, and it's mostly logistical because there's really good lines of sight to and from this room.
Oh, right, that's what you said earlier, right.
So the drummer is kind of the heartbeat of the rhythm section. They're kind of the conductor, and they're keeping everything in time. And then bass player in the dead room that we walk through first, and then usually guitars and keyboards and any other miscellany in this big room. But you know, it varies. Like if there's a jazz session that's like a piano bass drum thing, then the pianos are going to stay where they are. So you kind of just lay things out according to necessity at that point.
Plenty big. No,
yeah,
plenty big.
Yeah, lots of space and lots of choice, and that's one of the fun things about, you know, engineering here. And I think probably it's a fun thing for clients too. Is like, oh yeah, we can kind of shape things in this cool way.
And you can see the engineer or the producer in here. They're talking to you in here. But either way, I mean, this is a special place. It's really cool that you guys have opened it up for the people of Chicago to come and take a look at it and be proud of one of the best recording studios in the United States, I would say.
I'm excited for it. We don't have a lot of opportunities to kind of like connect with just, you know, the community of Chicago more broadly outside of musicians and engineers and producers. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to just kind of, just invite people into our space and show them what we do.
Awesome. Well, thanks. I appreciate you taking time, the pre-tour to the many tours that you will do this weekend, but I appreciate it nonetheless. So thank you very much, and good luck with all the projects you have coming up.
Thanks so much.
All right, that is the story from the 78 here from Electrical Audio in the Avondale neighborhood. Tom Barnes Chicago at gmail.com. If you have a story from the 78 suggestion, hit me up there. Go to the website, storiesfromthe78.com. And don't forget, Sunday is the time to come and check out this place. And when I mean it's on an unassuming street, you can't get more unassuming than this. To give you an idea, down that way is the Kennedy Expressway, just a little bit west of California and Belmont. So, good luck.